There you go. Hello, Facebook world, TCI family, Jonathan's Refuge. It's your bishop coming to you live from the top of Getchell Hill in Marysville, Washington. It's always excited to see you guys. We're starting to get the place slowly worked on. Permits are amazing. How you have to permit. You can't even spit without having a permit. So we've got stuff started that the things that you didn't need the permit for while we're waiting for the permits process, which is delaying because of an architect issue. So, anyways, let's jump into our message today. We're talking about fear. You notice I have a guest with me coming to you today for the first time to our church globally. And I'd like to introduce Darren Tran. Darren is my nephew and from Long Beach, California. So, welcome, Darren. Thanks for coming on the show with us tonight. Darren is a really good young man. He's 18 years old and is a very polite person. And I was down visiting my brother and his who is married to his aunt. And I was discussing. I was like, "What's going on with Darren and stuff?" And I noticed he wasn't doing a lot of stuff. And I was like, "Why doesn't he come on up to my neck of the woods and come live with us and give me a chance to spend some time with him?" Sorry if you see me swatting. I've got a fly here in the place. Somehow it got in here, so forgive me for that. But so long story short, we arranged to get Darren to come up here. So I fly Darren up and he gets into the airport and I pick him up and he's 18 years old. He's never lived on his own, right? So he's always lived with his family. And when you live with your family, you kind of have a routine and a lifestyle. And it's kind of I don't want to say it's all taken care of. It's not. You got to do a lot of things for yourself. But there's a pack of you, correct? And you're familiar with it. And then you've got your friends in the neighborhood and you got all of that. And so when you start to think about that, you take then Darren and you rip him out of that environment and he puts himself, and I say rip, he didn't rip himself, he wanted to come. So then he puts himself in another environment and has zero new people or zero old people to rely on as a pack. Now he's got a new pack, right? He's got his uncle and he's got people in my organization that already, love him to death. And he's got people on my board that, he was over at one of our board members, Brian's place, and he was learning how to ride the scooters. Our man TJ in studio here, he was actually showing them, and he's never ridden these scooters, the electric ones, and this thing hauls and takes off. So they're out there doing that, and he's got a lot of people that care. So it's a new pack that he's forming. And when you think of those kind of things, there's a new environment, it's a new place, it's new opportunities, it's new dangers, it's new fears. There's a lot of new things. How do you overcome that, right? I mean, there's a lot of scary things. It must make you a little scared at night sometimes, or during the day, or whatever. But um, when you made the decision to come up, was there a fear that rushed in? Like, am I making the right choice? Am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
Okay. And what helped you to overcome that?
Um, Kind of just over the past few days, it was the people that I was surrounded by, the new people I was around, and it just made me feel more at ease and made me feel more comfortable being around here, and made me feel less worried about um moving away. And
So then people, the pack, going
yeah,
back to that pack concept, right? The family concept, the church concept, the fellowship of people. And so now all of a sudden a group of people help a person to adjust into a new area and a new place where there's new adventures coming and new opportunities. And there's an interesting scripture actually. And so if you go to the book of Numbers in the Old Testament and you go to chapter 13, Moses told the Israelites to go and search out this land. It was called Canaan at the time, which is modern day Israel. And so they send 12 spies out, and all 12 come back, and two of them gave a good report. 10 of them said, we can't do it. Their cities are too big. There's too much fortifications. And so some of the notes I made, which I want to go over real quick, is specifically talking about the people who gave the negative report. Okay. The first thing that when it comes to the fear, because fear rushed into 10 of those men. They're 10 warriors. They're not just like 10 chumps. These were 10 warriors. And so the 10 warriors, they couldn't admit and own their own fear. The other two guys they did. And that's why they went ahead and had a good report. They also got clear on what they fear. What does that mean? If I ask somebody, what are you afraid of? What do you fear? And they tell me, as an example, rejection. That's not true. What is it specifically? There's a specific thing. Somebody rejected you at some point, not you, but somebody rejected that person, right?
Right.
At some point in their life, and they ended up being scarred mentally, and they've allowed themselves to hold on to that as something that's permanent. Okay. And so when it talks about getting clear on what you fear, that's important to understand it, because everything we can overcome, all of our fears can be overcome. I'm overcoming my fears of spiders right now. It's hard, but I'm overcoming it. I can now kill certain spiders that I could never touch before. And every day I can kill a bigger one and kill a bigger one. And now I can walk up and be within 3 or 4 inches and just look at it and go, all right, hey man, can someone come up here and help me real quick? And it doesn't, I'm not screaming, jumping in Daryl's, Darren, hold me, Darren. It's bad. I'm scared of spiders, right? But how about I overcome that? So I decided to overcome one of my huge fears. The next one right on the list is overcoming my fear of falling and fear of heights, right? So how do I do that? I'm working on that right now too. And how am I doing that? I'm making sure I'm clear on what I'm fearful of. What was it? Is it fear of falling? There has to be something. So working to find out what that really is. And then you got to challenge your negative thoughts. If you don't challenge your negative thoughts, like if you don't, like Darren's sitting here going, I'm by myself, I'm in a new place. Those are negative thoughts because you're not focusing on the positive. I'm in a new place. There's exciting things to do. There's new adventures to go on. There's these mountains I can go to. Instead, we sometimes always go to the negative thought. Oh, I don't have my brother here. My auntie's not here. I just need to go home. I need to go home. My dogs aren't all here. I miss everybody. And so you just focus on it. And if all you focus on, because whatever you focus on, your energy will flow to. So if all you focus on is just missing family, missing the home, or all those men when they were sent out to see the land, all they did was see the big giants and said, "Oh, we can't beat those guys." Maybe if you fought them one on one, you couldn't, but you can beat them, and you could. But because of their negative thinking and all they did was focus, what happened was those 500,000 people just had to walk around the desert for 40 more years. And if you know the region, do the math, it's not that big. So for 40 years, they just pretty much walked in circles. That's what their fear got them. So Darren can sit down in, his house in Southern California and just walk around in circles for fear of wondering what it'd be like to get out. Or he did what most people never do. He took one step and said, let's see what it's like. Hey, let's take one more. Where's this lead? Hey, what's that trail go to? And all of a sudden, he starts venturing out and he's making new friends all over, and he's starting to do new experiences, taste new foods, see new places. But again, the fear, we have to address that. So, a couple things I want to go over when it comes to the fears is you got to, when you think of it, you got to focus on the benefit. And what I mean is you got to focus on the positive stuff. Like I was mentioning, focus on being in a new place, new adventures. There's beautiful mountains up here. You don't have the massive fires that they do down there. There's a lot of issues you don't have up here that you had down there. So you focus on the positive things: new job, new career, new opportunities, new lessons to learn. Then what's interesting is you break down your goals, because it seems big sometimes when you make big goals. This whole property that we're sitting at right now is a $10 million project that we're working on. It's a $10 million project. Now, to purchase it to start, it cost 1.1 million. And before I started that, I had to have a company that had income, and I had to build all that. Before there was that, I had to build a corporation and do the paperwork. And before that, I had to have money. And so I had to build this stuff. And then I had to work three jobs to get the money to build the corporation, to start the idea, to build the idea, to keep it going, right? And then all of a sudden, bang, here we are. But if I just looked at it all and said, "Oh, I can do this in $10 million and we can do it," I never would have got started because it was too big. You just start with one bite. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's what he said. TJ's like, it's okay to yell. One bite at a time is how you eat an elephant. If you try to eat the whole elephant, you're not going to make it. Okay. So now when you look at your goals, you've got to have goals. You've got to set goals. And once you set the goals, here's what you need to remember. First thing I want you to do is break them down. Break it down to small all the way up to the big ones. Start with the easy ones. So whatever the easy goals are that you can knock out, knock them out. You take out as much as you can, accomplish as much as you can. The first thing I do in the morning is I make my bed. Everybody asks why I make my bed. Why do I care to make my bed? I don't need to make my bed. I'm not here to impress my mom. I'm a single person now. I don't have to do anything for anybody. Let me explain something. I make my bed because that's the first task that I make a goal to do. And I set that goal and then I accomplish the goal. And it's the first thing I do in the morning. So my first thing has been accomplished. I already succeeded on something simple. And if my day goes to pots and my day just falls apart the rest of the day, kind of like a day like today, here's the good news. When my day is over tonight, I get to go back up to those stairs to my beautiful sleep number I-10 bed and allow the feet to come up and the back to crouch up. And I get to smell the laundry because that's right. I made my bed and I have clean sheets on it and a nice pillow and a beautiful blanket. And I get to look out my window and my cozy blanket that's now neat and smells good. So even though my day might have fallen apart, I started off with one simple goal of making my bed, having a clean bed. So when I got home, no matter what happened, and if it was a great day, then I celebrate with, hey, I got a bed that's made for me. That's a celebration because I had a great day. You see the mindset that you have? And it's a mindset. And that's why we always talk about that. The next thing is embrace imperfection. We are perfectly made imperfect. You are flawed. I watched Darren yesterday learn to drive a scooter. And Darren's own words, how'd you say it? You did what on a bike? You ate it pretty bad.
I ate shit.
Okay, so on the church channel, he meant to say he ate crap. Good job, Darren. So he ended up falling and eating this pavement on a bicycle. So he's not good in his balance, and I heard that at least. So here's these scooters. These things are fast and they're big and they're crazy, and you got a seat on one side and all this stuff and lights and horns and honkers and beepers and bunkers and you name it. And he's out there and he's like, whoa, whoa. And he fell one time. And so was he perfect is what I'm trying to get at. No, he was not perfect yesterday. He had flaws and he couldn't be perfect. So what does that mean? He was perfectly made imperfect. And TJ, who was literally running side with him. All right, man, do this, grab this, do that. Nope, do that. And then, nope, that's where he went wrong. You got to try this. And there's him running alongside teaching his buddy. He's about 10 years older than Darren, but he's imperfectly made perfect. And so you've got this idea that we have to be perfect, and we don't. I'm not perfect. Everyone thinks because, well, he's an archbishop. Oh, holier than thou. The anointed has spoken. Okay. Listen, the purple is the color of the bishop. Okay. Yes. Give me that magazine right there next to you that says, look, please. When I was ordained, I was fourth removed from Pope, meaning Pope Paul, and I'm the fourth guy from him. So I'm holy. I'm just a man. That's the point. I'm no holy man. I'm a man that has mistakes on a daily basis. I'm just going through a divorce. There's nothing easy in life for any of us. And people say, well, yeah, it is. It's easy for you to make money. No, it's not. It's no easier for me to make money than it is for you to make money. It's no easier for me to deal with a marriage than it is for you to deal with a marriage. Life is not easy. Life is hard. But what you have to do is you have to embrace the imperfection. And that's the part that's important. And then you got to celebrate your progress. My gosh, when you think about progress, my day fell apart today. It was like 7 a.m. and it's starting off, and we're dealing with literally septic system and all this stuff at one of my buddy's places. And so I get back, and man, I find out the engine that we blew on the truck is going to cost $40,000. That's how I start my day off. Hey, nonprofit, I need $40,000. Then when that's done, oh yeah, we're in the process of going down to pick up our economy car that we need to get good gas mileage because we just had to give away our other one to a to somebody in our company who's left. And then we have to replace that. So we're doing that tonight. So there's another 35,000. And then we got to go down and get the transport van because we've been out of a transport van for, I don't know, a few months since it got wrecked. And there's another, that's right, $25,000. And then when my contractor says, "Oh yeah, your invoices are going up a little. They're going to go up to 7,000 a week starting next week." And I'm just like, it's the big one. Now, how do you handle that? How do you handle when everything starts to fall apart? I want you to ask yourself that question because I started to celebrate my progress even as things were falling apart. I just arranged for a brand new security, a brand new line of credit at a bank, and then jumped to another bank that I work with and secured one more. And I'm in the process of doing it again with another one that I'm working with. So I just secured like $70,000, and I'm working on another 40 to give our one of our nonprofits another $100,000 in lines of credits to be able to do things and produce things and make more efficient choices and decisions because they're able to be nimble and jump back and forth and move because they have liquid cash available to do things. And so it's interesting when you focus on the good, when all of around you it's falling apart, you can find good. You know, there's a reason on my wrist, if I can always, it's hard for me to figure out how to get that on there. So the wrist, if you see it, it says live positive. And one of the nicknames I've received over my life is Mr. Positive. And it's not that I'm never negative. I'm actually probably more negative than I am positive. I want you to hear that. I'm probably more negative than I actually am positive. But why do they call me Mr. Positive? Here's why. Because at the end of the day, when I look at the situation and the problem at hand, no matter what the problem, no matter what the situation, the truth is I see the positive always, not the negative. It's as though I've trained myself, and I say that laughingly. It's because I trained myself by my mentors to make sure I didn't focus on the negative because all we ever do is go straight to the negative. My money's not in my account. Oh, someone ripped me off. We automatically say that. My wallet's gone. Someone stole my wallet. Why don't we say, where did I put my wallet? We always go to someone stole my wallet. It's because we are so trained to go to the negative. Every time that phone rings, it's a con artist trying to get my money. Is it really? Not really. And again, celebrate the good things, the little things. Some days, I'll be honest with you, I celebrate that I made it to the end of the day. And I just say, hey, I live to fight another day. And that's as good as I can get sometimes. There's no good health. I'm barely alive, and it allows me to go ahead and have that positive outlook. Now, let's look at when the positive report came back from that research. They ended up actually coming in there and they the negative aspects, the 10 spies said that people are too large, we can't do it. They got big cities. But here's the notable exceptions. Caleb and Joshua, the two spies, they actually sat there and encouraged the people. We can do this. We can overcome it. And that's what I simply find myself at 50, just encouraging the young guys, the young men, that sometimes you just got to focus on the positive. I know you're afraid of this, but if you don't think about it, you can overcome it. Darren, I had the pleasure, one of my favorite things to do with my nephew, actually, since he's been here, is to work on the farm. It's been a blast. My favorite stuff, getting my hands dirty. I was up on a tree and Darren was cutting yesterday, and I'm cutting the tree, and we're taking down all the branches and sawing stuff. And, the couple of days before that, he's been doing that for 3 or 4 days. He drove the tractor. We got a bucket loader and a backhoe Kubota, and he's out there. And I'm walking near him. I'm talking to him through things, but he's running it. And so he's learning new things that he's never learned. He doesn't even have a driver's license, and he's out running a tractor, which can be top heavy. And there's cliffs and there's things that you could turn it on and flip that thing and kill yourself and kill others. And yet he's learning and he's paying attention and he's listening to the positive things. Like, now listen, if you go down that cliff, that'll kill you. That's not a negative thing, even though dying's negative. It's a positive thing. We're pointing out the danger. That's actually a positive thing. It's not being negative. And don't do this over here because you could die. Again, that's not being negative. That's a positive thing. Watch out for this, watch out for that. That's what Uncle said. Okay, got it. And then he just kept it in between the buoys, in essence, right? And next thing you know, you get done. And so those are the simple tools if you use to find yourself overcoming fears. Because again, I had so many fears as a kid growing up, and I just kept tackling them one by one. And there's still things that scare me. They a lot of them are things that are out of my control, and I laugh when I say that too, because let's be honest, everything's out of your control, folks. The older I get, the more I realize I control absolutely nothing. I don't control the church. I don't control the people in my church. I don't control my nonprofits. I don't control my companies. And you say, yeah, but aren't you the head? Yeah, I am the head of it all, but I don't control them. I really don't. I control really just one thing: my emotions, my reactions. That's it. Nothing else. So I can control how I feel about what's going on, and I can control what I do with that. So, I chuckle. My nephew, um, we were out and he made a comment, and it's kind of like a more of an older comment. And inside I wanted to just, I could have just popped him, right? But I didn't. Why? I had a feeling, and I was like, that young little whippersnapper, I'm not old. Instead, I go ahead and look at the feeling and control it. Just like I know when he looks at his uncle, he says, my God, he's probably one of the best looking men on earth. And he can't control telling the world my uncle's the best looking guy on earth. It's just hands down. And I know that's what you're thinking. It's okay. You don't have to tell the world. So as I part tonight, guys, I'm cutting it short. I'm cutting it a minute, 2 minutes long, and I apologize. I just want you to know I love you guys. I missed the men at the refuge. It's a tight week. Next week is my 50th birthday party on a Saturday. So for those in the church that want to come to it, reach out to me, please. Facebook, our YouTube channel, the church phone, my phone, email, whatever. Get the address. Come on out and celebrate 50 years of my life with me. I'd love to have you here. All right, guys. God bless. And remember, overcome fear by taking little steps.